a private jet. The people in St. Thomas don't know. The people in St. Lucie don't know that a private jet is flying high, and that the cost of a private jet far exceed those of commercial airlines with first-class cabins. Not good enough for the members of this government, who y'all are? Super people? Super people? And keeping our poor people out of work and exposing our citizens to crime. Some crime is committed. A man steals food. There's no malice aforethought. He's hungry. He's hungry. Is this government so indifferent to the plight of people that these luxurious lifestyles mean so much in the short time that this government has left? You're surprised to hear that. Your reality may be what you think. There's an objective reality, and it will visit you, and I hope when it visits you, you will remain mentally stable. I want to read some other ministries here. Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, $104 million. $104 million. And the Barbados Labour Party is a socialist party. Have you left your moorings? Have you left your philosophical moorings? Have you abandoned the principles of democratic socialism? Have you embraced the concept of the autocracy? Have you? Are you indifferent to the plight of the poor? And when I talk about the poor, I'm not talking about some small set of people. A lot of people in this country are poor. We used to talk, the sociologists will tell you about the lower, the middle, and the upper middle in terms of class. And the sociologists will tell you that class is a combination of economics and social status. And that a lot of people who used to be middle, and lower middle have slipped. It has become a cliche, one pay back to another. That's how the people in this country are living. And it seems to me as if the ministry that deals with welfare is getting less money than the Prime Minister's office, and we are supposed to be afraid? Afraid of injustice? Afraid of wrongdoing? I have a historical mandate to see that the people in this country have a voice in here, and I will not resign from it. I don't care who it comes from. Your Honor, it is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong to give $188 million to the Prime Minister's office and give $104 million to a department that is dealing with welfare checks. A department that is paying rent for a woman who has 2 children and no father present in their lives. A woman who has 3 children going to school after eating something called ramen. If the economy is so buoyant, if the place is a buzz, to use the language that the Prime Minister used yesterday, show the poor people of this country, show the middle class people of this country how buoyant this economy is, how a buzz it is. But clearly, for some it is buoyant. For some it is buoyant. It is so buoyant that one ministry gets $188 million to luxuriate in the skies, while in the trenches of Barbados, the poor are languishing. That is the reality in this country. And we say we care. And you say you are a democratic socialist party. And the mandate of a democratic socialist party is to involve the state in critical areas of life, health and education, and welfare and housing. That is a democratic socialist party. Please talk to them. Please talk to the Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I say through you, I appeal to the members of this cabinet. Some Thursday not too far from now, have the courage to tell the Prime Minister she's wrong. Have the courage to tell the Prime Minister of this country that the poor people have rights, and that if your economy has grown 11 consecutive quarters, there must be some reserve. There must be some financial reserve for the people in Britain's Hill, and the people in the Pine, and the people in Crab Hill who can't find work. The voices have gone still. The voices have gone still. Yes, I lost some too. I lost some too. When you all gave them the job, I was so pleased. I turned up with a smile. I was so happy. And when you all took away the jobs, I was so ashamed. I confess to my shame and embarrassment and sense of loss when those people could not be listed among the fortunate, when those people could not find their names listed on government paper, which gave them $500 a week, and it was not enough, but it was something, and they were grateful. And every 3 days, a private jet lists from Grantley Adams on some expensive excursion, presumably or purportedly in the interest of the people of this country. What glad tidings has this country received from these excursions? What have these expeditions yielded to the people of this country? Name one. And that is why we are celebrating Haman's local investment, because we have not attracted foreign investment. What has it yielded? Has it yielded an enhanced international reputation? And I congratulate the Prime Minister through you, sir. Sobers, 1966. I can't call the Prime Minister's name in here, but the Prime Minister scored some good runs in the last few years in the international fora. She introduced Bob Marley to the world of Philistines. That's the honorable member for St. Andrew. He's not crying, he's coughing. He's coughing, not crying. He gets on cry. So that we all gather at the Prime Minister's feet and congratulate her for an enhanced international reputation, but it has come at the expense of the taxpayers of this country. And it has come at the expense of poor people who can't get enough money from the welfare department. And it has come at the expense of the worker who was sent home after being paid $500 a week, and excluded from that pay was a national insurance payment. Why must suffering only belong to the poor? Why? And why, when the poor can be elevated from their suffering, why does this compassionate and caring government refuse to do it? We have a voice in here now. I was driving up Ford's Road this morning, and a man shouted into my car, he in one direction and in the next. He said, "Boy, you got to come good this evening." I know what he meant. I may well have disappointed him. I don't know if I disappointed him, but I want to speak on behalf of the dispossessed, the disrespected, the disadvantaged. Why you don't stop talking? What you calling for? You're moving about in your chair. Relax, Honorable Member for St. Thomas. Relax. You and I love poor people. You and I are together on this. Your people lost jobs, my people lost jobs. Why you don't stop quarreling with me? Quarrel with the Honorable Prime Minister. Or they don't allow you at the Thursday meeting. Oh, you got sent home. Sorry about that. I think I've made the point. I think I've made the point. And Honorable Prime Minister, through you, sir, I appeal to the office to cut that budget in half. 90 million is still too much. 90 million is still too much. 90 million over 12 months. Do the maths. Calculate it. Who the Minister of Housing are coming for him just now? Coming for you just now, Skipper. Yeah, come in for you. Relax yourself or go outside. Nobody don't run from me, okay. I had housing low dog, I bring it up for you now. I'll bring in housing up for you. Thank you. A group of people went to the Rihanna dinner in New York a few years ago. The people in Crab Hill don't know that the airfare was $120,000. A few people went to the Rihanna dinner in New York a few years ago. The people in Crab Hill and Fords Road and Silver Sands and Belle Plaine and the Ivy don't know that that bill was $120,000 in airfare alone. I haven't talked about the per diem. Anybody wants to leave? You're staying? You're tired? Well, you had 4 hours and 22 minutes yesterday. I only had an hour and a half. But as I said before, and I'll say it again, I have decided to raise my voice, Mr. Speaker, because I want you to stop hearing the Honourable Member for St. Thomas. So if I have to raise my voice so that you would stop hearing her, I'm going to do it. I'm not being discourteous. But 67 people went to Dubai. And I want some people to start trembling if I disclose the bill for the Dubai expedition, the Dubai excursion, people of Barbados, honorable colleagues, and so are we all, honorable men and women. How many of you were there? When I was growing up, my old lady had a plaque in the house, the Book of Life. Is my name written there? Is my name written there? Well, I ask y'all, the Book of Dubai, was your name written there? How many of you were on that excursion? How many of you went? What did you bring back apart from toys? What glad tidings do you have to show to the people of Barbados? 67 of you. What a marvelous time this government is having at the expense of the people of Barbados. And you're all sitting down here thinking that you're popular because you can go to a fair and dance, and the people are fascinated that y'all can dance, and you think that is popularity. I began on the theme. That is your reality. Your reality is that you are happy. You think you are happy. And you think the people in this country are happy. They're not happy. Ma'am, they're not happy. Sir, they are not happy. I threatened a nervous government to disclose the bill for the 67 that went to Dubai. I threatened. But I am being pulled back by decency. I don't want to disclose people's personal business. I don't want to say who was among the 67. I don't want to say what great fun they had. I don't even want to say how much the trip costs. I don't even want to say, well, what I will say is that that trip alone put several hundred Barbadians out of itinerant labor. That this government could have given than 67 people itinerant labor. But this government chose an excursion. And y'all think that y'all are so popular. And the honorable member for St. Thomas laughs. You probably are popular because you about to depart from the place. Coming back, this is part of the budget, ma'am. This is part of the budget, sir. This is part of the budget. You're quarreling with me. You're cursing me. I can take it.
I remember you ought to be addressed. Don't be so
Please control her.
Remember St. Thomas.
Please control her. She's hurt. Her feelings are hurt.
Honorable, don't be distracted. Don't allow her to get under your skin, sir.
Right.
Please.
67 to Dubai. I now turn to the honorable members for Christchurch West and St. James Central again. Give me men about me who are fat, sleek-headed men and such as sleep o' nights. Those were the persons on that flight. Don't worry, don't worry. Don't worry. There's a TV audience. Give me men about me that are fat, sleek-headed men and such as sleep o' nights. That's the quality of person who went to Dubai. Don't find that as your relief. Don't make that your relief. You must give account to the people of Barbados for your excesses. 188 million. I don't want the people of Barbados to forget that figure. I want the people of Barbados tonight to go to sleep with that figure in their head. That the Prime Minister's office, for the first time in the history of this country, first time in the history of this country, is spending $188 million in the manner in which it is spending it. And it is separate from the allocation that is made to the Ministry of Finance. And the Honorable Prime Minister is the Minister of Finance as well. So don't confuse it. Don't confuse it. Government social policy. Government social policy. Don't worry, don't get disquieted. Government social policy. Is the government now denying that just about every 8 days there are trips out of this country? Is the government denying that several of those trips are done by private jet? Is the government denying that? How dare the government attempt to deny that? I come to education as part of government social policy. And I have spoken at length about government's plans in relation to the common entrance. And I have mounted resistance against it. And I am not so egoistical as to think that it had anything to do with my protests. But I know it had a lot to do with the protests of the people of this country, who decided that they remained emotionally and mentally and psychologically invested in the 11+ as the fairest system. They recognize that it has produced some casualties, but they also say to the government that the problem is not as much that of the exam itself, but that the problem relates to the curriculum in the primary schools and problems in the primary schools. That if a chap cannot cross the barrier of the 11+, clearly has a problem in the primary school. And government must deal with that. But a greater concern in relation to education, well, not a greater concern, but there are other concerns that seem to afflict this ministry. I thought transferring a principal was going to be something simple. I want to be charitable to the Ministry of Education and assume that the problems are following the ministry. I want to assume that to use the Bajan word, the ministry is blighted. That something as simple as transferring principals from one school to another is done the Sunday night before the Monday of the start of the term. And that one man has to move from St. Philip to a school in St. Peter. And he gets that news 6 hours before the school opens, when he should be in his bed preparing to go back to his school. Simple issues. And I've said in a very public place before, that the problems, the environmental problems at schools, should not be amplified into the kinds of problems that we describe them. If a school needs cleaning, clean it. If a school needs cleaning, clean it. I don't expect a minister to go and clean it, but I expect a minister to run the ministry. And these little problems that keep creeping up in education. And if I'm to be charitable to the ministry and to the minister, perhaps the press may be paying the ministry and the minister a little more attention than they pay others. That if the press did not cover these issues, and if the press did not make as big an issue of these matters, perhaps people would say, well, those who found out, well, it's a problem, the child had to stay at home, they have to clean the school. But I've said elsewhere, and I'll say it here as well, that the environmental issues are not as urgent as the other issues in schools. The psychological issues, the cultural issues, the issues of violence, the issues of low self-esteem, the issues of low achievement, the issues of low motivation, the issues of hunger in the school, poverty again, government's misallocation of its resources, contributing to these problems in these schools. Those are the real problems. And a teacher's job, faced with these manifest problems, cannot be an easy job. And I ask the minister through you, sir, through you, to get a handle on the many problems that confront children within the educational system. I know the minister expects me to speak in heavy criticism on violence, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Because I believe that the problem of violence in schools obviously is imported into the school. From somewhere, home, somewhere. The school then becomes the repository of a social problem. And I wouldn't burden the minister with heavy criticism in relation to violence in schools. But I will say this, that what happened at Springer Memorial must never happen again in any school. Why did they choose Springer Memorial? Why was Springer Memorial stereotyped? For natural victimhood, for the status of victimhood, not victimization, victimhood. Why are the girls at Springer seen naturally as victims? And why were they ambushed in a simulation? Simulations don't ambush people. Simulations are communicated to the actor victim and to the actor perpetrator. And what happened there must never be allowed to happen again. And my view is that the problem was one of stereotyping. And the public knew this. The public knew that that would not have happened at other schools. But Springer was chosen. And that has been a tragic day in the life of that great school. A school that has had such high achievement, not only in athletics, but in academia. Anybody knows that Springer has now a sixth form? Anybody knows now that when I was at school, not Springer, the prestige schools were the schools with sixth forms? And I did not know why for many years, successive ministers of education never saw it fit to give to certain schools the prestige of a sixth form, so that at the end of fifth form, a girl or a boy had to be scrambling between community college or one of the sixth form schools. It was not fair. And whoever made that decision, it was a great decision. And that person deserves congratulations. For too long, St. Michael's Foundation, which used to have a sixth form school before, Alexandra, Coleridge Parry, for too long these schools were burdened with a reputation of being less prestigious than the other schools. And they had children just as bright. But please, please, please fix the problems in education. And where a problem can be fixed, please fix it. I know it is expected that I will speak on the IDB survey. Again, that has been a blot. That has been a blot not only on the ministry, but on this country. I don't even wish to repeat it. But it has been a blot on the history of this country when innocent little children were subjected to unconstitutionality, the invasion of their privacy with foolishness. That's the only charitable term that I can use. Foolishness! Confronting innocent little children. So that perhaps I will close that chapter by yet offering some sympathy for the Ministry of Education, except to say that if the problems require strong leadership, and if strong leadership is not present, do something. And if the Ministry of Education is one of those ministries that is hiring its leaders on contract in the public service, you're giving people 3-year contracts in the public service and it is demoralizing the career civil servants. That is a fact. A person spends 25, 30 years pursuing a career, and like everybody else, they want to reach the top. And you come and supplant somebody on their head and give them a 3-year contract and expect the people working beneath them to work at their optimal capacity. They can't. That is causing major disruption in the public service. And I suspect, I have the liberty to say it here, I suspect, I may be wrong, I have the right to be wrong, but I suspect the Ministry of Education, and I would not be surprised if the Ministry of Education is a casualty of the problem of supplanting contractual leadership on the ministry. I suspect so. And if I'm wrong, I would be happy to be wrong. Health and the environment. The Minister of Health came in here a couple days ago and boasted that when he was a medical doctor at the hospital, that it was a better place. And he promised that he is going to make it a better place. And I come back to this question. I heard the C2SAB expressing their view. I heard the Barbados Workers Union expressing a different view from them. I am not against any foreigner getting a job in this country, because I know that Barbadians work in other countries across across the Caribbean and throughout the Commonwealth.